It's a drug you may have never heard about, but is now at the center of two headline-making stories. It is called Coc ine, and it was allegedly used to get embattled music mogul Diddy Combs' wild parties going.
This morning, we are getting a glimpse at what authorities in Argentina believe contributed to his death. Sources tell ABC News multiple substances were found in Payne's system, including Coc ine, a popular but potentially dangerous party drug.
So 2C is the but they take the cat and cook it up. And they fold it into the cup.
I've had my come at me on some, oh, you should do this type shit. And I was like, what? Man, what the did I do that?
We recently lost Payne under tragic circumstances, but things took an even darker twist when the details of his death came out. The toxicology reports revealed a mix of substances including pink coke, crack, regular coke, and even benzodiazepines.
This morning, we are getting a glimpse at what authorities in Argentina believe contributed to his death. Sources tell ABC News multiple substances were found in Payne's system, including Coc ine, a popular but potentially dangerous party drug.
But what really grabbed everyone's attention? The pink coke, aka 2C. According to rumors, this is the same drug allegedly tied to a investigation involving Diddy Combs and his ex, Young Miami, who was supposedly transporting the drug for him.
It's a drug you may have never heard about, but is now at the center of two headline-making stories. It is called Coc ine, and it was allegedly used to get embattled music mogul Diddy Combs' wild parties going.
What's even wilder is that people are now starting to connect this to past celebrity deaths, including Coolio and Pop Smoke, all allegedly linked to Diddy. And some are even speculating that this latest tragedy might somehow circle back to him, despite him being behind bars. Word on the street is that celebs like Jaguar Wright.
So 2C is the but they take the cat and cook it up. And they fold it into the cup.
And Fat Joe might have even warned Payne about this danger before it got too late. Let's dive in. Just this week, the toxicology report for former One Direction member Payne dropped. Best believe it has everyone talking. The details that came out are chilling, to say the least. Several drugs were found in his system, but the one that's got people buzzing is pink coke. Yeah, you've probably heard that name before, right?
It's a drug you may have never heard about, but is now at the center of two headline-making stories. It is called Coc ine, and it was allegedly used to get embattled music mogul Diddy Combs' wild parties going.
And if you're thinking this sounds familiar, you're not wrong. It's the same drug that's been linked to Diddy in the past, and now everyone is starting to connect the dots. People are looking back at other cases, especially the suspicious circumstances around Coolio's death, and wondering if there's a deeper pattern here. Coolio, like Payne, was found with substances in his system before his untimely passing, and pink coke has somehow become the common thread in these high-profile tragedies. Of course, the rumors are flying about Diddy's possible involvement, given his infamous history with the drug and his wild parties that supposedly featured it. However, it looks like Coolio was fed up with that lifestyle and supposedly wanted to start talking, but he did not stand a chance. So who remembers what happened to Coolio? Although, he knew he was playing a risky game, but he went for it anyway. He called out the industry and spoke up when most people stayed silent. And just a few years later, he was gone.
Tonight, we're learning the cause of death for Grammy-winning rapper Coolio. A 59-year-old was found unresponsive at a friend's Los Angeles home last September. The rapper's family was informed today he died from a fentanyl overdose.
Coolio once shared that during his time in the spotlight, the industry's big players never approached him directly. Instead, they sent middlemen, shady characters who came with messages and demands. At first, he believed these were moves being made by the so-called Illuminati. It was odd, he thought, that the elites didn't reach out to him themselves, but relied on these sketchy go-betweens. They pressured him to do disturbing, inappropriate things he found so inhumane that it shook him to his core. This was what it supposedly took to make it big in Hollywood. Coolio made the decision to say no. He thought standing up to them would be good for him and even for the industry.
Motherfucker come at me on some weirdo like on some gay. I've had come at me on some, oh, you should do this type.
But it backfired badly. The Hollywood elites turned on him and he became a target. They tried to cancel him and, according to him, did everything in their power to bring him down. Things got so bad that he ended up in jail on what he claimed were bogus charges. It all went down at Los Angeles Airport. He was arrested for possession of substances after airport security found a pipe and other drugs in his bag.
I said, okay, well then, let me pay to have it tested just so I can clear my name and know that I am not that dumb.
But Coolio swore those things weren't his. He couldn't believe it himself. He insisted it was a setup.
If it's mine, then my DNA will be on it, right? Yeah, you're right. But we don't do that.
Desperate to clear his name, he even offered to pay for a DNA test, convinced it would prove he was innocent. But no one was interested in listening. Even after paying for the test himself, things didn't go his way. Coolio was arrested for drug and gun possession, and though he cut a plea deal that kept him out of jail, his reputation took a massive hit. He was still sentenced to community service and ended up doing 10 months of jail time with mandatory drug rehab for the substance charges.
There's a lot of that I want to tell people. It's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm scared because I got 4 grandchildren, and I got children.
What really stung was that during his trial, it was proven that Coolio hadn't been involved with any weapons at all. In an interview, he explained, "It was a misunderstanding. I do not condone the use of firearms, legal or illegal. Thanks to the court and the attorneys handling this for me so I can still do the work that I do." But the drug charges stuck, and his name was tarnished. And all this, according to him, was because he had rejected Hollywood's power players. This was just one of the incidents Coolio talked about, and he hinted at more, but he was afraid to go further. He knew how powerful these people were. In that same interview, he looked genuinely scared, not just for himself, but for his family. He felt like the more he revealed, the more danger he'd be in. Eventually, he chose to keep quiet, fearing for his loved ones. Yet, there were whispers of manipulative and shady practices in the industry that he had barely scratched the surface of. And then, as if on cue, the death threats started. Before long, Coolio was gone, found dead under mysterious circumstances, leaving behind a trail of questions and suspicions. Pop Smoke's rise in the music scene was quick, but tragically short-lived. His mysterious death in February 2020 shocked everyone. As fans took to social media to process the news, they uncovered something even more surprising. Pop Smoke had ties to hip-hop mogul P. Diddy, and not just casual ties. Apparently, the two had known each other for a while, with Pop Smoke often spotted at Diddy's parties, dancing and enjoying himself.
And you know the streets getting lit. Baby, welcome to the party. I'm off the money to sing the lead. That's why
Now, when Diddy's name comes up, it's hard not to expect some kind of drama, right? But the connection between Pop Smoke and Diddy has left many people wondering if there's more to the story. Rumors are swirling that Pop Smoke's death might not have been just a tragic accident. Some speculate he knew things about Diddy that the rest of the world didn't. To add fuel to the fire, King Combs, Diddy's son, was with Pop Smoke in the studio just hours before his death. They were growing close and had even collaborated on the hit single Diana. Their friendship, though still fresh, was cut short in the most heartbreaking way. For Combs, those final moments they shared have now become cherished memories. But fans suspect there's more to the story than just a tragic ending. In an interview with Hip Hop DX, King Combs reflected on that fateful night. He remembered how they were up late in the studio, surrounded by a few others, as they worked on music. Combs laid down his verse for Diana, while Pop Smoke recorded Iced Out Audemars and a few other tracks. According to Combs, the vibe was nothing but positive energy. Anytime we were around each other, it's a lot of energy where you're just dancing and having fun. Never any negative vibes, and it was the same thing that night. Combs shared that they even took some time during that session to laugh and exchange personal stories. He had plans to catch up with Pop Smoke afterward, but after getting pulled over by the LAPD, he decided to head home instead. It wasn't long before he received the devastating news. My pops bursts into my room and says, "Yo, Pop Smoke," and I'm like, "I was just with him like an hour ago." "It was crazy," Combs said. "Wow, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. That wasn't even supposed to happen. He was meant to be huge right now, man. But his legacy is living on, and I'm always going to honor him." Combs also recalled some motivational words Pop Smoke shared with him that have stuck with him ever since. He was like, "Yo, you gotta keep doing what you're doing. You're doing your thing. I see you. I like you. You're hard," Combs recalled. That's just something that stuck with me because he didn't even have to say that. He didn't have to say anything, and he just made it known he rocked with me and what I was doing. It's just like for somebody to go out and say that, to show love out the way, I feel like that stuck with me for sure. That's the official story we hear from Combs and Diddy, but the internet has its own theories. After videos surfaced of Pop Smoke dancing with Diddy at various parties, social media was flooded with speculation. Fans started to question if there was more going on behind the scenes. One user commented, "Dancing like they a bunch of dudes who love dudes. It's becoming more and more clear to me." Another user said, "That I see you from Diddy hits different knowing what we know." Someone else chimed in, "Diddy saw a whole meal bro, Pop Smoke RIP was just loving his life." The speculation doesn't stop there. Diddy has been hit with numerous lawsuits and charges over the years, including those related to Emder and more disturbing claims. Some fans now believe that Diddy might have had a hand in Pop Smoke's death, suggesting that Pop Smoke could have known something he shouldn't have. Of course, these are just theories circulating online. 4 years ago, no one had any idea what Diddy might have been involved in behind closed doors. But with Pop Smoke's rising fame and his growing connection to Diddy, it's not hard to see why some fans think there's more to this story than we've been told. In the end, it's important to remember that this is all speculation. But with so many unanswered questions, it's no wonder fans are still searching for the truth behind Pop Smoke's tragic death. Well, for Jamie Foxx, he had a close call to death, and this is how it went down. A while back, Jamie was making waves across social media after some old videos of him talking about Diddy's infamous parties resurfaced. In these clips, Foxx mentioned how he would walk around with a massive camera, taping everything that went down at these wild events. People were fascinated by his stories, but shortly after Jamie started trending, things took a serious turn. In April 2023, Foxx's daughter Corinne Foxx announced that he had been hospitalized due to a medical complication. What nobody saw coming was the shocking claim that this complication might not have been natural at all. According to a new interview, it's alleged that Jamie Foxx was poisoned. The revelation came during an interview with celebrity bodyguard Big Homie CC on Cam Capone News. CC suggested that the threat to Jamie's life was linked to none other than Diddy. When asked about his thoughts on Diddy's recent arrest in Manhattan on September 16th, involving multiple serious allegations, CC mentioned feeling vindicated because, according to him, he had been talking about Diddy's dark side for a while, but people hadn't believed him. Then came the bombshell. When pressed on whether he had any insider information about what was going on behind the scenes before Diddy's indictment, CC dropped a startling claim. "Well, I know he poisoned Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact." This claim didn't really shock many fans. One person commented, "I believe it because Jamie Foxx was one of the first PPL to expose Diddy parties like 15 years ago." Another user chimed in saying, "I don't get it. These people are telling us what's going on. They all can't be lying." Big up to people like Jag, Jonathan, and this guy. Big Homie CC also shared that he himself had been poisoned 3 times after drinking bottles in a club, claiming that he tested positive for cyanide and even caught pneumonia 3 times because of it. He added that his brother and a woman he was bodyguarding were also poisoned, hinting at how widespread and dangerous the situation was. When asked why Diddy would want to poison Jamie Foxx, CC's answer was somewhat vague, but saying, "You get called to testify. If you on camera and some of this footage and you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself, it's a way in this industry people go about doing things.
You get called to testify if you on camera and some of this footage and you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself. It's ways in this industry people go about doing things."
It sounded like Jamie might have had something on Diddy, something captured during one of those legendary parties that made him a target. Jamie has never fully opened up about what went down during those wild party days, but he's hinted at it before. He's talked about how he used to throw massive parties, taking cues from Hugh Hefner, who he admired from a young age. Foxx also partied a lot with Diddy, and as he's mentioned in past interviews, he got to see a much darker side of the record exec, especially when he was drunk.
I would show up to the party in my little town car. This town, I grabbed me a town car so I could skirt. Puff the SUVs and the Bentley.
One night, he followed Diddy to a club, camera in hand, and asked if he could record. Diddy, recognizing Foxx from his TV appearances, agreed and made him the videographer for the night. It worked. Foxx ended up filming more parties for Diddy, getting a front row seat to everything that went down.
And I was trying to get in music at that time, so I would throw parties for a reason, because Puff was so famous with music.
It was during these parties that Jamie Foxx reportedly saw things that may have gotten him into trouble. Things that, according to rumors, might have led to his mysterious health issues. But to this day, Foxx hasn't fully opened up about what he witnessed during those events, leaving fans to wonder just how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Jamie Foxx after his mysterious health scare, saying he has been to hell and back. Foxx said on social media that he's recovering from the medical condition that sent him to the hospital in April. He didn't disclose the illness.
It's no secret that OGs in the game tend to steer clear of the spotlight when it comes to drama, but when they do speak up, they don't hold back. One of those OGs is none other than Fat Joe. Over the years, the Bronx-born rapper hasn't been shy about sharing his thoughts on the industry, especially when it comes to the controversies surrounding Bad Boy founder Diddy. Fat Joe, like many others in the hip-hop world, has had a lot to say about Diddy's business practices. He's been in the game for decades, and he's seen firsthand how things go down behind the scenes. So when Joe says that the major label system is a Ponzi scheme designed to mistreat new artists, people listen. This isn't just coming from some rookie who's been burned once or twice. Joe's been around long enough to recognize the patterns. He's made it clear that the record labels, especially ones like Bad Boy, are often guilty of mishandling young talent, particularly young male artists, and even subjecting them to inappropriate situations, including harassment. Joe's always been straight up about his views on homosexuality in hip-hop, and he's never tiptoed around the subject. Back in 2011, he made headlines for his candid remarks saying that being gay shouldn't be a big deal and that there were probably plenty of gay rappers and athletes who just weren't out. I'm pretty sure the football dudes are gay, the basketball dudes are gay, there's millions of gay people in the world. Girls too, Joe said, casually pointing out what many already suspected but weren't saying out loud. But the real eyebrow raiser came when Joe dropped his gay mafia theory. When asked specifically about the power structure in hip-hop, Joe didn't hesitate to share his thoughts. According to him, the hip-hop industry is likely owned by what he called the gay mafia. Now, before you jump to conclusions, he wasn't talking about the rappers themselves. He was referring to the people behind the scenes, the magazine editors, the radio station executives, the award show organizers. These are the gatekeepers, the ones who have the power to make or break an artist's career. And in Joe's view, they're all part of this so-called gay mafia. He didn't name names directly, but it's hard not to wonder who exactly Joe was hinting at. Diddy's name often comes up in these conversations, especially considering the rumors and allegations that have followed him for years. Could Fat Joe have been referring to him when he mentioned the gay mafia? It's not a stretch to think so, given Diddy's notorious reputation and the whispers that have swirled around him for decades. But here's the thing. Fat Joe's comments weren't just about Diddy or any one person in particular. He was calling out the entire system, one that's built on exploiting young, hungry artists who are eager to make a name for themselves. In Joe's eyes, these artists are often chewed up and spit out by the industry, with little to no regard for their well-being. And when you mix in the rumors of harassment and inappropriate behavior, it paints a pretty grim picture of what goes on behind the scenes. So while Joe didn't explicitly say he was talking about Diddy, it's hard not to connect the dots. Diddy's been accused of some shady stuff over the years, and with all the lawsuits and allegations piling up, Fat Joe's words feel more relevant than ever. Whether or not the gay mafia theory holds any truth, it's clear that the music industry has its dark sides, and Fat Joe isn't afraid to speak on it. And who knows, maybe more artists will start speaking out too. Payne's sad loss has revealed the darkness in Hollywood, and it is just a matter of time before someone else becomes the victim if many people refuse to speak up, unlike Fat Joe.